Now at 9, monsoon season returns.
Tracking strong thunderstorms here across the state with dangerous wind and areas of flash flooding. What you can expect for the rest of the evening and for tomorrow morning.
A hiker is rescued in Davis County.
I think this is our 4th or 5th sprained or broken ankle in the last 2 weeks.
How quickly changing weather can put you in harm's way, and the warning before heading out.
It was eye-opening, and it was really scary.
An Eagle Mountain mother hopes change will come on the dangerous curve outside her home. She's seen some progress, but isn't enough.
This old World War II design airplane is one of many you're going to see at the Warriors over the Wasatch Air Show this weekend. We're going for a flight. Come with us.
Live from Utah's news leader, Fox 13 News at 9 starts right now.
Top story tonight is the monsoonal weather in this first week of summer. This is flash flooding at Capitol Reef National Park this afternoon. Water poured through the park and shut down multiple roads, including parts of Highway 24 and the Scenic Drive. But that's not the only trouble spot we've seen this evening. There has been rain and lightning all over the state, and in northern Utah, heavy winds of broken tree branches. Allison, we need the rain, but we could do without the flooding and the heavy winds.
That's right. So we do have some strong winds with the storms that have set up today and the areas of flash flooding. Still a few areas of thunderstorms from about Roosevelt up through Evanston. What we're seeing right now, nothing has a warning for flash flooding or for severe weather as far as the wind goes, but these could still be strong and pack a punch into central Utah down towards Highway 6 between Castledale and Schofield. Right now we've got some moderate rainfall, and into southern Utah, less rain for Capitol Reef and Hanksville compared to earlier today, but still a little bit of rain coming down over Lake Powell, but nothing currently problematic. Into tomorrow morning, here's what you can expect. Temps around 60 to 65 for Provo, Salt Lake, and Ogden Friday at 6 a.m. Still some chances for thunderstorms early tomorrow morning through central Utah, and then especially into eastern Utah by the afternoon tomorrow. A hot day ahead, close to 85 to 90 for the Wasatch Front. Still a few chances for isolated thunderstorms here in Salt Lake City. Highs around 90 tomorrow with partly cloudy sky. Coming up, I'll let you know how long this monsoonal pattern will last. Plus, I'll let you know what the flash flood threat is for tomorrow.
Allison, thank you. New at 9, a woman is recovering after breaking her ankle while hiking in Centerville. Davis County search and rescue crews and Good Samaritans helped her make it out of the canyon this morning. And with the monsoonal rain, hot days, and cold nights, crews are urging people to plan ahead. Fox 13 News reporter Spencer Joseph spoke with first responders who have a warning tonight.
It would be a nightmare for anyone.
We were paged out for a female with a potentially broken ankle at 10:45 this morning.
One misstep and you're off the trail.
Hike up to her and start medical treatment right now.
Through dispatch, we got a good GPS ping location of where they were.
But that's exactly what happened to a woman today in Dual Creek in Centerville.
We had a good group of fire with us today, and then we had 7 or 8 of our team up on the mountain as well.
But thankfully,
Oftentimes there are Good Samaritans, which is awesome.
there were Good Samaritans standing by to help.
I actually chatted with a couple of the hikers that were up there, and they were awesome. One gentleman gave her some pain medications. I think it was some Advil, he said, so it was great.
With Life Flight coming in for the rescue.
Multiple people are involved in making that decision.
We made the call to bring in Life Flight. Couple-minute flight out of the canyon is much more enjoyable for a patient than being on their back bouncing down a trail.
All told, a fracture, but it could have been worse, especially on challenging terrain. This is the type of terrain crews we're talking about on this specific hike. And while it might not be too bad with the right equipment, with shoes like these and a suit jacket, it wouldn't be ideal. That's why they're urging always to have the proper equipment when going on hikes.
You know, you're talking to a search and rescue guy, so we're probably often over-prepared and push that prepared button all the time.
Proper footwear is very important. I think this is our 4th or 5th sprained or broken ankle in the last 2 weeks.
And with weather moving in, that can change in an instant.
Gauging your hike and your timeline is, number one. Letting somebody know where you're going, especially if you're hiking by yourself.
Carrying water is also key, but most importantly is a charged phone because,
if you're injured in one of these trails, the most important thing is to get 911 on the line.
In Centerville,
just get us rolling and get us moving. That's the most important thing.
Spencer Joseph, Fox 13 News, Utah.
Just into the Fox 13 newsroom, UDOT says a hazmat situation is affecting the 13th South off-ramp from southbound I-15 in Salt Lake City. This is a live look from a traffic camera there in the area. The Utah Highway Patrol says the spill is oil from a vehicle that has left the scene. Hazmat crews have laid down material to make it safe to drive on. The ramp may be shut down soon when a street sweeper comes in to clean it all up. The family of the Box Elder County employee who died in an off-highway vehicle crash on Tuesday is now sharing details about their loved one. Here is the picture of William Kosman they have shared with us. The crash happened on Promontory Road. Kosman was a seasonal worker in the weed control department with Box Elder County. In a statement, the family says, "We can't come up with enough words to describe William Dwayne Kosman, affectionately known as Frenchie. His hands were always full, whether he was bringing you something, fixing something, or adding his personal touch. He will be extremely missed by all who knew him." Authorities say the cause of the crash is still under investigation. There are clear signs of progress tonight in an Eagle Mountain neighborhood as the city addresses speeding drivers. A Memorial Day weekend crash sent 2 people to the hospital. Fox 13 News reporter Emily Tenser spoke to neighbors who hope drivers will now slow down.
It may look like any other street sign, but to this Eagle Mountain neighborhood, it's a sign of progress.
I'm really hoping that those new signs that slow everyone down, those will help, hopefully.
Christy Motter is a mom who has watched crash after crash take place just outside her backyard.
Okay.
She's ran to help out at least 4.
Hey.
Hey, are you okay?
No.
What? Call 911.
Yeah, call 911.
Just because of how steep the hill is and how harsh that curve is, people aren't really expecting it when they come flying down that hill, and then they have to turn really quickly.
It's been almost a month since deputies say a couple flew down Ranches Parkway at 60 miles per hour and crashed into this tree. The damage is still here.
It was eye-opening, and it was really scary, just because of how fast they were going and how intense the injuries were.
Back in May, she told Fox 13 News that something had to change.
I need something done just to keep my kids safe.
She called the city's planning department, and on Monday, the city installed new signs and a traffic counter to collect data on the speeding and daily traffic. More warning signs are also on the way.
And that should suggest a speed limit of 20 miles per hour around that curve where that accident over Memorial Day weekend took place.
Ranches Parkway is a non-residential street, so Tyler Maffitt says stop signs and speed bumps aren't recommended for that hill.
And one of the worst things that could happen is if somebody is speeding in that area, they don't want to be sent ramping over a speed bump and into private property.
The city's traffic study wraps up on the 28th. Engineers will look at the data to form a plan moving forward.
I'm really, really happy to see that they're listening and that they're just as worried as we are.
Reporting in Eagle Mountain, Emily Tenser, Fox 13 News, Utah.
With dangerous flooding in Carbon County earlier this week, a man and his son rescued 2 other people after a rock slide. Heath Gallen says he and his son were driving when they saw a Ford Expedition with a pole through the windshield. Gallen says they stopped and found a man and his wife stuck inside with leg injuries.
The man was clearly more hurt, and the special part about it is he said, "Please take care of my wife," and his wife said, "I'm not bleeding. Please take care of my husband." It feels absolutely amazing that we could help in a time where things were chaotic and nobody really could lend a hand.
The rock slide was part of the flash flood that tore through the town of Helper on Sunday. Gallen says life-saving measures such as keeping someone from bleeding out is a relatively quick study. Carbon County officials advise residents to be prepared for anything that could come their way.
I'm not working 1 minute for this guy, who I had just declared was completely incompetent.
High drama on Capitol Hill as the January 6th committee holds another public hearing. I'm Caroline Shively in Washington. I'll have details coming up.
Products made by major e-cigarette maker Juul have been banned nationwide. Tonight, reaction from state health leaders and how local vape shops are being impacted by this move.
We're counting down to the Warriors over the Wasatch Air Show, and we're going up with the Yellow Thunder 2 ship. You're going to want to stick around to check this out.
It's a big night in the NBA with the NBA draft. Did the Jazz make a move, or did they end the day with no picks? We'll have the details coming up.
The January 6th committee unveiled new findings in a hearing today. 3 former Department of Justice officials described their interactions with President Trump in the days leading up to the riot. Each one described the pressure campaign to overturn the results of the 2020 presidential election. Fox's Caroline Shively reports from Washington.
Members of the committee praised the men for standing up to the president and refusing multiple requests to invalidate the 2020 election.
I said, Mr. President, we resign immediately.
Stunning new testimony from 3 Trump Department of Justice officials who described their conversations with the former president and his pressure campaign to overturn the results of the 2020 election. Former Acting Attorney General Jeffrey Rosen said the president spoke with him almost daily about election fraud allegations.
That he thought the election had been stolen or was corrupt, and that there was widespread fraud. And I had told him that our reviews had not shown that to be the case.
Thursday's hearing centered around former Justice Department official Jeffrey Clark, who supported the president's claims of widespread voter fraud. In an Oval Office meeting 3 days before the Capitol riot, Trump proposed replacing Rosen with Clark as acting attorney general. The DOJ officials threatened to resign immediately and said hundreds of other employees would follow.
I'm not working 1 minute for this guy, who I had just declared was completely incompetent.
On Wednesday, federal authorities searched Clark's Virginia home.
There was loud banging at my door, insistent banging, so I just rushed down as fast as I could. I quickly figured out, that there were agents there.
Republican Congressman Mo Brooks, who's been subpoenaed by the committee, announced on Thursday he will speak to the panel, but only under certain conditions. In Washington, Caroline Shively, Fox 13 News, Utah.
New tonight, a bipartisan gun violence bill has passed the Senate by a vote of 65 to 33. The vote clears the way for the House to pass what will be Congress's most far-reaching response in decades to mass shootings in America. The initiative includes millions of dollars for mental health and crisis intervention programs and changes the process for buying a gun for people 18 to 21 years old. Senator Mitt Romney of Utah has been a major supporter of the bill. Utah Senator Mike Lee voted against it. A bill to fix supply chain issues and get more baby formula on store shelves has passed the Senate. Senators unanimously approved a modified version of Utah Senator Mike Lee's proposal. In a video posted to Twitter, Senator Lee celebrated.
We've got bipartisan support and unanimous passage for a variation of my Formula Act. The Formula Act, in a nutshell, makes it easier and more affordable for American families to gain access to baby formula.
The bill suspends taxes to import foreign formula. It now goes to the House of Representatives for consideration. The popular e-cigarette company Juul is now banned from selling products in the United States. The company originally said their product was a healthier alternative to smoking cigarettes. The FDA has accused Juul Labs of marketing the product to young people. Fox 13 News reporter Jenna Bree shows us how one shop is already feeling the effects of the ban.
It's kind of a mad dash at the moment.
The news spread fast today.
Somebody came in here and bought everything just a few minutes ago. It was over $1,000 worth of product, and so it's already gone off our shelves. So.
Mary Palmer remembers the day Juul first hit the shelves.
I was actually hired right when the Juul craze was really big. I remember lines literally out the door.
Just a few years later, she's not shocked at the FDA's decision to ban the products for good.
All their ads featured young, hot people being really trendy and cool.
Soon you won't be able to find Juul products on any store shelves. But this isn't the end for e-cigarettes. The FDA's ban is just for the one popular brand.
Juul was like a huge thing a few years ago, and since then, lots of other things have taken its place.
But still, doctors see this as a huge win.
They've been so aggressive about marketing to young people, whether they care to admit it or not, that they got slapped on the wrist by the FDA today.
Dr. Sean Callahan says the long-term side effects of e-cigarettes are still unclear, but he can already see what it's done to kids.
If you're a young person and you're sick all the time, you're not going to do well in school. You can't carry a job very easily. You may be using a bunch of inhalers. You may be in and out of the doctor's office a lot, and that's not an ideal way to live if you're 20 years old.
Here in Utah, where cigarette use is relatively low compared to the rest of the U.S., Dr. Callahan says he's seen more young people vaping than he would have ever expected. In Salt Lake City, Jenna Bree, Fox 13 News, Utah.
There are resources for anyone wanting to quit smoking or break the nicotine habit or addiction. Call 1-800-QUIT-NOW or go to quit.com to get immediate help.
Well, we had some thunderstorms that moved through the Wasatch Front earlier this evening. Rain totals mainly coming in at less than half of an inch of rain, but we still have some more chances through the evening, mainly into eastern Utah. For right now, here's a live look from the Oquirrh Mountain Cam facing out into the Tooele Valley. We also had some pretty strong wind gusts, especially down in Saratoga through Tooele County. We've had some gusty conditions and dusty conditions. For right now, isolated areas of lighter rain for the Wasatch Front. Still some moderate rain moving through Evanston and then over towards Highway 6, about to cross Highway 6 actually just south of the Soldier Summit area as we look down towards Price and Schofield. As we look up towards Duchesne through the Uintas up into Wyoming, we have some lightning strikes still if you're lucky. But we're watching for you here across southern Utah. Earlier today, we had some flash flooding that closed roads in Capitol Reef and Hanksville. All of our flash flood warnings have been expired, and right now we're seeing just some light to moderate rainfall moving through the Lake Powell area, a little bit of lightning, but we head into tomorrow and we're going to have some more chances for showers and thunderstorms. But for this evening, we'll keep this chance for a few showers and thunderstorms through about 11 o'clock midnight, really dying down after about 2-3 a.m. But come tomorrow, we still have a storm threat for thunderstorms, mainly about I-15. This does include the Salt Lake Valley, Utah County valleys up through Davis counties into Ogden, the Cache Valley, further east. So we're going to end up tomorrow with still some chances for showers and thunderstorms. Temperatures tomorrow morning around 60 to 65 for Ogden, Salt Lake, Provo, Tooele. Then we look at tomorrow afternoon, and it's going to be another hot day. Highs will be around 90 degrees tomorrow. We're going to have still some chances for showers and thunderstorms across far northern Utah, eastern Utah, and southeastern Utah. So through tonight, let's go ahead and pause this at 11 o'clock. Still a few pockets of more moderate rainfall just north of Price into Duchesne County. Then we're going to end up with tomorrow morning, very early in the day, still that chance for some thunderstorms to roll through the Lake Powell area, through central Utah, Friday at 9 a.m. down towards the Book Cliffs. Then we see more of those arriving into the afternoon tomorrow with some more daytime heating. So we're not quite in the clear yet. We're going to continue with this monsoonal pattern. So let's break down that chance for rain here in Salt Lake. Mainly isolated chances Friday, Sunday, Monday, Monday night, Tuesday. By Tuesday night, widely scattered showers. For Provo, you have a little more of an active pattern. You're basically isolated showers every day the next several days with your best chance Tuesday night. And for St. George, isolated every few days, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. We're going to have those temperatures for St. George close to 100 degrees over the next week. Overnight temps mainly in the 70s, and for the Wasatch Front, we'll keep those temps around 90 through Sunday, closer to 100 degrees early next week.
Allison, thanks. Straight ahead, Provo police need your help to crack an attempted homicide case that has gone cold. What they want you to know tonight. And did you receive this mailer today? We'll explain why the Utah County Commissioner pictured here is now calling out Utah County Attorney David Levitt. A judge has dismissed a lawsuit filed by an ex-Salt Lake County Republican Party official against hundreds of lawmakers. David Robinson sued the governor, members of the legislature, the Salt Lake County Council, and news media outlets, accusing them all of libel and defamation. It stems from accusations of harassment and inappropriate behavior against the former county party communications director, which political leaders roundly condemned. A judge dismissed Robinson's lawsuit, saying there weren't specific legal claims articulated. Robinson has 60 days to refile it. Salt Lake County remains in the high level of COVID-19 transmission for a second straight week as COVID increased its spread around the state. 10 more Utahns have died and 6,776 more people tested positive over the past week. The statewide ICU utilization is now at 77%, meaning Utah's ICUs are on the verge of being overwhelmed.
Those are the perfect conditions for a catastrophic set of circumstances.
The governor and firefighters across the state say maybe it's a good year to just skip the fireworks.
Some of the Patriot Front suspects arrested in Idaho were licensed security guards in Utah. State law explains how those licenses could be in jeopardy.
It'll be interesting to see what designs rise to the top.
Thousands of entries, but there can only be one that will become the next Utah state flag, what the lieutenant governor and others are looking for when making their decision.
It's the final year of independence for the BYU football team. We'll hear from Gunnar Romney on what he expects this season.
We're counting down to the Warriors over the Wasatch Air Show here in northern Utah. We're going up in the skies with the Yellow Thunder 2 ship. Join us for the flight coming up.
To help exercise good fire sense, to reduce the risk of catastrophic wildfire, and to not burn the state down.
Firefighters and state leaders say this just may be the year to skip personal fireworks. The drought isn't getting any better, and the risk of catastrophic wildfire is very high. Fox 13 News political reporter Ben Winslow has more.
And as you look at a day like today where it's windy, hot, and dry, those are the perfect conditions for a catastrophic set of circumstances.
The governor, city mayors, and firefighters pleaded with people to do whatever they can to avoid sparking a wildfire.
100% of the state is in some level of drought. 83% of the state is in extreme drought or worse.
Firefighters say conditions are extreme right now and resources are limited.
And all it does is take one fire to tax the system and really deplete the number of firefighters we have.
Personal fireworks sales are getting underway. It won't be legal to set them off until a few days before and after the 4th of July and Pioneer Day holidays. But this year, firefighters say it may be worth it to skip them.
We're encouraging citizens to forego personal fireworks shows this year.
Under Utah law, cities actually can't enact an all-out fireworks ban. But what they can do is severely restrict them. And that's what a lot of communities have done.
We've got nearly half of the city of South Jordan under restriction on the west side and a large portion on the east side. There's so much at risk right now. It's just not worth the risk.
South Jordan's mayor says she believes people will do the right thing. Last year, human-caused wildfires were cut in half.
Everyone's mindful that we are in a drought. Everyone knows that.
The governor says he would like to see the legislature do more to deal with fireworks and fires.
I like that we give municipalities more authority. I think we could give them even a little more. I think there are some places and some times where maybe it's not appropriate to have any fireworks, and we certainly haven't gone that far yet, but it's certainly worth looking at.
Ben Winslow, Fox 13 News, Utah.
Tonight, Utah County Commissioner Amelia Powers Gardner is calling out Utah County Attorney David Levitt over a mailer sent to county residents. The mailer is made to look like an endorsement of Levitt, who is running for re-election. But Powers Gardner says she has made no endorsement in the Utah County Attorney's race, and she did not give her consent for her name, her picture or her quote to be used. She says the quote on the mailer was from a Facebook post over a year ago about a program initiated by Levitt's office, and that it is not an endorsement of him as a current candidate. Provo police need your help to crack a cold case involving an attempted homicide at the Missionary Training Center back in August of 2020. Police say on the night of August 3rd, a suspect pulled up to the MTC entrance in a white or silver older model Subaru sedan, got out of the car and opened fire at a security officer inside the booth. If you have any information that can help identify a suspect, call Provo Police.
As soon as you're arrested for a misdemeanor, charged with a misdemeanor or felony riot, they're going to have licensing issues.
I would be surprised if it's a lifetime suspension. 6 months. If they're convicted, that's possible.
Consequences are beginning to come for some of the Utah men arrested in Idaho with ties to the white supremacist group Patriot Front. Fox 13 News investigative reporter Nate Carlisle explains how for 3 of the suspects, the charges have put their careers on hold.
We get hired by just about everybody, you know, that Jewish temples, for instance.
Derek Evans is in the business of protecting people at CBI Security in Salt Lake City. Earlier this month, 2 of his recent hires were among the 31 men arrested with Patriot Front near a pride event in Coeur d'Alene, Idaho.
Pruitt, April, end of April, and Tabler, the end of March.
Those 2 and a third Utahn arrested in Idaho, Nathaniel Whitfield, are all licensed with the state of Utah as unarmed security guards. Tabler even listed CBI as his employer when he filled out his jail booking form. This is the Utah law on licensed security guards. While there's nothing in here that specifically addresses misdemeanor conspiracy to riot, like the Patriot Front suspects are charged with, other provisions could put their licenses in jeopardy.
As soon as you're arrested for a misdemeanor, charged with a misdemeanor or felony riot, they're going to have licensing issues.
Jacob S. Gunter is a Provo attorney who represents people facing sanction by the Utah Division of Professional Licensing, or DOPL.
When I look at the code provisions of good moral character or not convicted of a misdemeanor of moral turpitude, that applies to some of the owners of these security companies, those are broad terms.
Besides observing and reporting, Utah law allows unarmed security guards, under certain circumstances, to detain people and even use force. But for now, it sounds as if the Patriot Front suspects won't be doing any of that. What's their licensing status right now?
Right now, it's suspended.
You know all this because the state informed you, or Mr. Pruitt and Mr. Tabler informed you, or
the state?
A spokesman for DOPL would not confirm that to Fox 13 News, though he said, in general, temporary suspensions are common when a licensee has been arrested or until DOPL can investigate.
I would be surprised if it's a lifetime suspension. 6 months. If they're convicted, that's possible.
CBI protects government and private locations all over Utah, and Evans said the company didn't wait for DOPL.
Our decision was prior to DOPL suspending their license was to suspend them. So that's what we did.
Do you want to say anything about your views on white supremacy?
Well, I'm against it.
Okay. Nate Carlisle, Fox 13 News, Utah.
Pruitt, Tabler, and Whitfield did not return Fox 13 News messages for comment. Utahns are entering new designs for the new state flag. See some of the proposals when we come back.
And coming up, still tracking some storms here across Utah. I'll let you know the flash flood risk for tomorrow. Plus, I'll let you know what you can expect for the rest of tonight.
Utah is one step closer to having a new state flag. Today, the Department of Cultural and Community Engagement held an open house to show off the thousands of submissions they received over the last few months. Fox 13 News reporter Chris Arnold spoke with the Lieutenant Governor and others about the importance of finding the next state flag.
We have roughly 5,700 flag designs that were submitted by Utahns from all over the state over the last 4 or 5 months.
Utah's next state flag can be found somewhere on one of these walls.
We had submissions from all 29 counties in the state, almost 200 of the 346 zip codes were represented in the submissions.
David Wakay is the Director of Strategic Initiatives for the Utah Department of Cultural and Community Engagement.
We've got everything in these designs.
He says they receive submissions from people from all walks of life and even students across the state.
We've had the current state flag for a little over 100 years now.
This comes after the state legislature passed a bill last year to begin the process to redesign the current state flag, which has been criticized in the past for being both dull and complicated.
Is this from the generator?
Lieutenant Governor Deidre Henderson stopped by to look over the designs.
I have seen a lot of beehives, I've seen a lot of bees, a lot of mountains. It'll be interesting to see what designs rise to the top.
The Lieutenant Governor is the co-chair for the Flag Task Force with Governor Spencer Cox.
You look at all of the states in the Four Corners region, Utah needs to up our game on our flag. Our flag is not very memorable, and as compared to Colorado's and Arizona's and New Mexico. So I'm excited to join the cool flag club.
The Lieutenant Governor says they're looking at how unifying a flag can be and how it can help ultimately identify us as one Utah.
Did the submissions include explanations?
It's something Wakay feels will eventually be found in one of these rooms.
I am very confident that at the end of this process, yes, we will have a state flag that all Utahns can feel a part of, that identifies us as a state.
Well, the next step in the process comes tomorrow. Wakay says they'll narrow down the designs they have right now to as few as 100. He says then they'll put 20 to 30 designs on their website in August to get some public feedback before they're ultimately voted on by the legislature later this year. In Mill Creek, Chris Arnold, Fox 13 News, Utah.
Well, we're doing something that a lot of people don't get to do when it comes to the Warriors over the Wasatch Air Show. We're going up in the sky for a flight. Join us.
Coming up in sports, Real Salt Lake has signed one of their star homegrown players to a contract extension. And the NBA draft is going on right now. We'll tell you if the Jazz have made a trade or made a pick.
The Air Force Thunderbirds arrived at Hill Air Force Base today ahead of the Warriors over the Wasatch Air Show this weekend. The team made the hour flight north from their home at Nellis Air Force Base in Las Vegas. The Thunderbirds demonstrate the incredible capabilities of the Air Force's premier multi-role fighter jet, the F-16 Fighting Falcon. And I can tell you from personal experience, that is a thrill. It's been 4 years, though, since the last air show at Hill, and a lot of eyes will be on the sky this weekend. Fox 13 News anchor Brian Schnee met one of the performers on the ground and then went flying.
I just love flying.
Truth is, they both do.
Check the ground straps inside. There's another pin inside here. Once you're up in the elements, nothing else matters. The rest of the world is gone. That's my happy place.
Two Canadian pilots, David and Drew Watson, continuing their family tradition of flying these old World War II design aircraft.
We decided to start doing some formation flying, and we did some aerobatics, and then at some point thought, well, we need to share this a little more than we were. Taking a look at the wing. Security of the ailerons, controls again, make sure they're not loose.
For nearly a decade, the Watson brothers have been flying at air shows across North America, which includes their upcoming first appearance at the Warriors over the Wasatch.
Awesome. I can't wait to see it. I've heard they got really big crowds here. I can't wait to see that.
Impressive from the ground. This black step, then that footstep on the right and hop in.
Yeah. Right foot on the footstep.
Gotcha. Even more impressive from inside the cockpit. All right, we're in. David was kind enough to take me up for a flight. Let me know if you need me to do anything back here. Adjust the landing gear. Don't worry, I left all the controls to David, who's been flying aircraft for 35 years.
On a flight go tower.
I am ready to go back here. Just a few minutes into our flight, things got a little crazy.
Okay, you ready for some arrows? I am ready for some arrows. We'll start with a roll. Hesitate for a second and then roll her over. Just like that. Folding up now.
A few maneuvers and 3.5 G's later, we were heading back to the airport. That was spectacular. That's right up there with some of the coolest things I've done in my life. That was amazing. Once in a lifetime for me, but for David and Drew, sharing their passion for aerobatic flight is just what they love to do.
Anytime I've got control of a stick in my hand and I'm out in the world. It's like most people when they have a getaway. Some guys like to golf, some guys like to do other things. I fly.
Well, if you're interested in checking out the air show, you're going to want to know the best ways to get here in northern Utah. And of course, all of that information about who's flying, who you can see over those 2 days. We've got all of it on our website, fox13now.com. Back on 2 feet, on solid ground in Ogden, Brian Cheney, Fox 13 News, Utah.
Okay, here's a video from earlier this evening. This is in Saratoga. Bob, this is pretty intense dust storm that you can see here. So Julia posted this picture. Juliana actually posted this picture in our Facebook group, Utah's Weather Authority. You can even have a hard time seeing the cars just passing right there.
Yeah, this is when it gets really dangerous.
Absolutely, when you start losing that visibility. And she said she had to mute the video because her kids were all yelling in the background. So sure, that was a scary moment. Glad everybody's okay. We haven't had any problems that I know of with today's weather. We've had a lot of shutdowns down in our Capitol Reef area. Hanksville had some roads closed earlier today because of flash flooding, but all things considering, I haven't heard of any injuries today with our storm setup. So I'm really happy about that. Here's a live look from the Natural History Museum right now, facing out west towards downtown. You can still see that pretty color in the sky. 77 degrees here in Salt Lake, 73 in Ogden, 73 in Provo. Here's what I want you to know for tonight. We'll still continue with some areas of scattered showers, maybe even a few isolated thunderstorms through the next 5 hours or so across northern Utah. But what we're going to be tracking for you heading into tomorrow afternoon will still be some more chances for showers and thunderstorms. Right now, the bulk of our rain is coming down Highway 6 currently, Spanish Fort Canyon Price up towards Soldier Summit. So what we're going to be watching for you this evening will be that possibility for some brief heavy rain, some lightning and some strong winds as those systems move through. Capitol Reef, Hanksville, a lot drier than it was earlier tonight, but there's still a little bit of rain to your south. There are no watches, no warnings, and no advisories with our current weather setup for the rest of tonight, or at least right now. And what we can expect through the rest of the evening will be some scattered rain. If you're doing any road tripping this weekend, tomorrow there was a little bit of a fire concern, maybe some critical fire weather for southern Utah. So if you're planning on traveling for the weekend and you've got a trailer that has any sort of chains on it that could be dragging, that could spark a fire. So something to be aware of. But we're going to continue with this monsoonal pattern through the weekend. With that, could see some areas of flash flooding, and I just want to remind you to never drive through a flooded road. Overnight temps here across the state around 60 to 65 for Vernal, Price, Provo, Eagle Mountain, Tooele, Salt Lake, Ogden tomorrow morning. Early tomorrow morning, our best chance for rain will be in central and eastern Utah. Then for your forecast at a glance, Salt Lake, Ogden, Provo around 85 to 90 tomorrow with partly cloudy sky. Isolated thunderstorms for southern Utah, Cedar City 86, Richfield 87, St. George 100 degrees. Eastern Utah tomorrow, Uinta Basin 82, Price 86, and for Moab 94 degrees. We likely keep the heaviest rain tomorrow off to our east and off to our south with a marginal risk for some excessive rain. So our flash flood potential, it's not non-existent, but it's certainly possible. So we're going to be looking at a possible rating for all of our recreation areas except for Zion. Possible means some slot canyons, dry washes, small streams could experience flash flooding. And then our precipitation outlook for week 2 keeps us wet out west. So beyond the 7-day forecast in week 2. For St. George, close to 100 degrees for the next week, and for the Wasatch Front near 90 through Sunday, closer to 100 degrees by next Tuesday.
Well, the NBA draft is now deep into the second round, and the Jazz still have not made a pick. Other teams are bringing in talent, like the #1 pick.
With the first pick in the 2022 NBA draft, the Orlando Magic select Paolo Banchero from Duke University.
That was a bit of a surprise. Many thought Auburn's Jabari Smith would go #1. Instead, Houston picked him at 3rd, and Orlando picked up Chet Holmgren for Gonzaga at 2nd. Well, I'm sure Danny Ainge and the Jazz front office have been working hard tonight, trying to get the Jazz better. They have not made a trade to get a pick or a trade for Rudy Gobert. He's still with the team as of now. The Jazz have been looking around for the best deals, but they haven't found one that they like, apparently. BYU joins the Big 12 Conference in 2023. That has the Cougars excited. But right now their focus is on this coming season. And they're excited to play their final schedule as an independent.
I think it's a really cool thing being independent. You kind of have a schedule that you play a bunch of different types of teams, a bunch of teams all over the country. That's what I'm really looking forward to. You know, one thing that might make me a little bit nervous, but, I mean, we could take care of this. It's a long time before a bye week. We play, I think it's 10 games straight of really tough teams. So hopefully we're able to stay healthy. Everybody's able to maintain that, because as you saw last year, we lost a lot of guys early with injuries, myself included, and it can come back to bite you a little bit. So if we're able to maintain our health and the team can stay healthy, I think we'll be okay.
Real Salt Lake has signed Aaron Herrera to a contract extension through the 2024 season with a club option for 2025 and 26. The 25-year-old has been a solid defender for RSL the last 5 seasons. He's coming off his greatest year with 11 assists and 1 goal. And Real Salt Lake is starting their 7th season with Unified Sports, a national movement with Special Olympics that joins people with and without intellectual disabilities on the same team. Today, the players on the RSL Unified team received their uniforms and saw their lockers for the first time at Zions Bank Training Center.
As they come into the locker room and their game kits are hanging up with their name on it, it's just awesome to watch it. As you can see, I'm kind of tearing up, but it is one of my favorite days. I don't know how to express how it makes me feel. People just have to witness it. It's just kind of awesome. So it's one of my favorite days.
Yeah, it makes me want to get out there. The RSL Unified team will play their first game on July 9th at Rio Tinto Stadium. RSL also plays that day. They play after the RSL game, so stay and watch the Unified team as well.
Boy, great. What a wonderful thing. It just makes your heart swell, doesn't it?
Sure does.
Thanks so much. We'll be right back. Hey, you want some cows?
Sure.
Utah County Sheriff's Office is auctioning these 7 cows off. Anybody seen Johnny Lingo? 6 of them were seized in the case last year. 1 was found wandering. More information, go to fox13now.com. They recommend you get moving quickly.
Bob, your kids would love those cows.
I'm sure they will. Quick cast up next.